Here is how to make trending reels in After Effects that captivate audiences but also land you high-paying motion design clients. Pay attention because a single reel could make a huge difference. For past 7 years, I've honed my craft, delivering stunning visuals for industry giants like Caprese and Akash Byju's without spending a dime on overpriced courses or even formal training. Instead, I have learned everything from real-world challenges, failures and rejections. This isn't a tutorial, it's a masterclass. You will not only learn how to create reels, but also why we do what we do in After Effects. By the end of this masterclass, you will have a deep understanding of After Effects and the confidence to create your own reels. Even if you are new to After Effects, don't worry. I'll hold your hand at every step of the way. And if you watch this video till the end, I have bonuses that will blow your mind. So make sure that you watch this video till the end and you don't skip out if you want to learn everything. In this lecture, we will dive deeper into the world of concept development and animation production. While this masterclass is going to be solely focused on animation process using After Effects, understanding how to create engaging concepts is equally important. Remember, a great idea is the foundation of any successful animation. No matter how skilled you are at animation, without a strong concept, your work might not resonate with your audience. Now we are going to go into how to develop concept. Okay, so to consistently generate ideas, you need a system. Okay, so if you want to be more professional, you need to have systems in place so that you can work more efficiently. And this course will give you systems about After Effects. Okay, and I'm going to teach you the system on how to generate ideas as well. Okay, and so these are the steps. So let's break down the process of developing your concept. So the first step is to define your audience. Now, it could be a client project or it could be a personal project. If you are working for a client, you have to understand your client's goals, their target audience, and that desired outcome. If you're working for yourself, you need to define your passion and what you want to convey or tell to the audience. Step 2 is to ask yourself the right questions or ask your clients the right questions. If you are making for your clients, if it is a client project, you have to ask yourself, what does the client want? Who is their target audience? What is their desired outcome or the end result? What ideas does their concept inspire? Now, if you are working on a personal project, here are the questions that you can ask yourself. So what am I passionate about? What do I want to highlight? How can I see it or visualize it? And what are the words that describe my vision? Now, once that is done, we go to step 3, that is to brainstorm and visualize. And to do that, what you do is you write down words related to the concept. Okay, just words, just basic words. And there is an example, detailed example in the description. If you want, you can check that out. But for now, write down words related to your concept, as many as words as you can find. Okay. Now, once you have words, from this word, you will be able to come up with some pictures in your mind. Okay. So what we do is we create sketches based on the ideas or the words that we have written. Okay. And then what we do is we find visual references to inspire our design. Okay. Then we move on to the 4th step, which is to develop your story. Here you have to write a basic script of what's going to happen. If you are not a beginner, if you are someone who is expert at motion design, what you can do is you can also plan out your animation, like what you are going to do and how you are going to achieve this. And so when you do that, it will not only save you time, but it will give you clarity on what you have to do so you don't get lost in the process. Okay, so these are the 4 steps that we use to come up with concepts. Okay, it's really simple. Now I'm going to show you the production process. So once you have a solid concept, we can move on to the animation production process. Now this masterclass will dive deeper into technical aspects of After Effects, but here is a brief overview of the production. So the first step is we create a concept. We already discussed how to do that. Second step is asset creation. Here we create or draw the visual elements for animation, and we can use softwares like Illustrator, or you could use PNGs from the internet. Now, if you're someone like me who can't draw, what we do is we use online tools to create assets. Okay. Once the asset is created, what we do is we separate layers and prepare it for the animation. Okay. Then the 4th step is to import the assets into After Effects and then start animation. Here we bring our concept to life using After Effects. Then we do rendering. Okay, here we export the final animation file, and the last step is sound design and editing. Here we add audio elements to enhance the animation and then edit. Okay, now this masterclass is dedicated to production in After Effects only, and I will also walk you through how to separate layers in Illustrator. But you have to remember that this is a masterclass. It is not a tutorial. It is going to take some time to learn the entire thing because this class is huge. So have patience, and I'm going to walk you through everything and multiple times as well. Okay, hi, welcome to this class, and in this class I'm going to walk you through how to create assets from the scratch. And if you're someone who, like me, who doesn't know how to create or how to draw things, I'm going to help you, don't worry. So I'm in this cool website called FreePic. I'm sure you are aware of it, and FreePic has some amazing assets. But the thing that you need to have in mind is what you want. And so I'm going to search for oil rig because that is what I want. So once you have found the oil rig that you want, what you want to do is I'm just showing you example. I'm not going to use this. Okay, so I'm going to just hit download. Let me get rid of this and free, and the file has been downloaded. And then right click on it, show more options, or just extract to oil, the name of the folder. Okay, and once you click on that, the folder will be created and you will be able to open it. Okay, and now I'm going to open the file. So this is the file that I'm going to use. I've already downloaded it from the freepic.com, and so I'm going to use this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select that by double clicking on it, and then I'm going to hit Control C, and then I'm going to create a new file. I'm going to call it oil rig AI and hit create document. And now I'm going to paste it in the center by pressing Control V, and then I'm going to resize it. And then I'm going to use this tool, which is align tool, to basically align everything in the center. Okay, now I'm going to get rid of the blocks. Okay, so what I mean by blocks is there are two things here. First, see the shadowy part. I don't want that because I want everything to be a 2D flat image. Okay, so I'm just getting rid of those things, and once you are satisfied with it, I'm just going to press this. So what I did is I just selected this, I hit I for the eyedropper tool, and then I just picked this color. Okay, now what we need to do is we need to have everything that is going to be animated on its own layer so we can create animation from. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to separate this entire thing, but I'm also going to include this part, this little part. Okay, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to press Control X. Okay, then I'm going to get out of the isolation mode by double clicking on the surface just like I did. And now I'm going to create new layer by pressing this icon, and the new layer has been created. And now I'm going to first of all rename top rig. Okay, and I'm going to hit Control Shift V, and it will be placed where it was, its original position. Turn everything to black. Okay, and now I'm going to get this part as well. I'm going to repeat the same process. Control Shift Control X, Control Shift V, and we are going to do the same thing for this one as well. And I'm going to rename this. Okay, so our basic asset is now ready. I'm going to save this, and we are done. Hi, so this is, as you can see, is After Effects, and now in the first lecture we are going to set up a workspace because I think that's going to be the most important part here. So to change the workspace, all you have to do is just go to these panels. These are panels, and then what you do is you grab that, and just like that you bring the composition here, and look at the green part here. So when it's green, it's going to create its own space. Okay, and I just dropped it like that, and here we have project panel. These are all these folders that I normally use. You don't have to worry about that for now. Okay, then there is this effects control, and then we are going to have our composition and our layers here. Okay,
and I'm not going to change anything. I'm just going to get rid of this. Also, there is this character, align, effects and presets. I'm going to get rid of this as well. I'm going to get rid of this as well. I'm going to get rid of this as well. Okay, so we have really clean workspace here, and also you would need a plugin that is going to save your life. Okay, so plugins are really important. There are times where plugins are going to save you so many hours. Okay, and one such plugin is called FX Console. Okay, so just go to Google and search for FX Console. Okay, and once you go to FX Console, you find this video copilot. What you do is you download for whatever it is that you want. I'm just going to show you right now. I have already downloaded it. Now let me show you what FX Console really does and how it can save you lots of time, and most importantly, it's free. Okay, so FX Console, what it does is it applies effects to the layers directly. Okay, so let me show that to you. First of all, I'm going to create a new composition. Okay, and here we have our composition, and then I'm going to hit Control Y. Control Y, we use Control Y to create solid, and I'm going to use shortcuts here as much as I could. Now I know you may be a beginner, but I want you to remember that shortcuts are really important, and I want you to understand that the reason why I am from the beginning I'm trying to tell you about plugins and shortcuts is that I want you to be more efficient. Okay, we want to use shortcuts and plugins because we want to create our work as quickly as possible, so we can deliver our work as quickly as possible. Okay, and so I'm going to just create this solid, and now I'm going to hit Control and space, and when you hit Control and space, this plugin, this dialog box opens up. Now if you have installed FX Console when your After Effects is open, it may not work, so you may have to restart it. So I'm going to show that to you again. I'm going to hit Control space and it opens up effects. So basically what you don't have to do is you don't have to go to here and then you have to search for here grid, and if you don't know what is grid, you have to go for and look for grid here. Okay, so what this does is it saves you time, and I can just apply anything that I want, and I have just applied it. Okay, and so this is how plugins and shortcuts can save you time. Anyways, now let's get back to setting up our workspace, and I'm going to save this as a new workspace. I'm going to call this Instagram and hit OK, and now we have our new workspace. Okay, we are going to use workspace whenever we are working on such projects that needs vertical screen. Okay, so now we are in After Effects. So let me walk you down through these folders that you see. So 00PC is where we store our pre-comps. This is where we store Illustrator files. This is where we store footages, video footages if we have any. This is where we store images. This is where we store the audio and the sound effects that we need. And this is where we store the random stuff that will be created by After Effects. For example, After Effects could create solids and adjustment layers. So this folder is going to have those random stuff. And so this structure keeps everything neat and clean, and it helps me really navigate through the stuff that I really want, and it really helps. Okay, so the first thing that we do is of course import the Illustrator file that we have created in Illustrator. Okay, and so I'm going to hit Control I. Now the thing about shortcuts is that I'm going to walk you through shortcuts, but I'm also going to give you the other options. So for example, if you want to import, you can double click here. Okay, or you could press Control I. I think Control I or Command I is really easy, so I'm going to use that, and then I'm going to import the file. Okay, now this part is important, and pay attention to this. Okay, so whenever you are importing an Illustrator file, you want to have it as a composition. It basically allows us to have those separated layers in its place, and it will also be created in the same size as that of Illustrator file. So for example, if your Illustrator file is 1080 by 1080, this composition will be 1080 by 1080 and every layer will be on its own, and the layer will be on its own as well. Okay, and footage dimensions, keep it at layer size and hit OK. Okay, and so we have our composition. This is our composition and this is the layer files. Okay, this is the layers. Okay, so we are going to move this into this folder and I'm going to give this a new color. Okay, and then the most important thing that you need to have or do is save. Okay, to save you need to press Ctrl S, and then I'm going to go into project files and then I'm going to call this oil rig 2 because I already messed up one thing, so I'm redoing this. Okay, so I'm going to save this as oil rig 2 underscore and hit save. Okay, so now we have our first file. Okay, and once the file is imported, what we are going to do is we are going to create new composition by clicking here, or you could also click here. Okay, so I'm going to create new composition. The file is going to, the width is going to be 1080 by 1920. The frame rate is going to be 30 seconds. The duration is going to be 10 seconds. And then I'm going to call this oil rig main and then hit OK. Okay, now I'm going to rename this oil rig AI2 to oil rig underscore PC. It's basically a pre-comp, and then we are going to move that here. One of the most important thing that we are going to do during this class is that we are going to pre-comp everything that will be animated on its own layer. Almost everything. I'm not saying everything, but some things need to have a pre-comp on its own, and I will show you why. Okay, so I'm going to open up oil rig PC. We are going to work on that first. So I have opened it here, and since the composition color is black, everything appears black, and I don't know why the composition isn't appearing here. Okay, so I don't know what just happened there, but I lost this timeline and I didn't know how to get it back. So what I did is just I reset the entire workspace and we are back. Okay, and so anyways, let's get back. So the reason why you can see here is because the color of the composition, the background color is set to black, and we don't mind, and I pressed Ctrl K to open that, but if you want you can go to here and find composition setting. Okay, or just go to here and find composition settings here, or you could press Ctrl K. Anyways, now I'm going to hit this. This is called transparency grid. Okay, so basically the black color that you see isn't really there, it's just for the convenience of the user. Okay, and so let me turn this and I press this shortcut. Okay, and so basically it helps us reset the view. For example, let's say I'm here, but now I want to see everything as it was and I want to see the entire composition. So what I do is I press this shortcut, which is Alt plus this slash, and then it gives us the view. Or what you can do is you can use this panel like this. Okay, and if you don't want to do that, you can use shortcut. Also, one more thing that you need to do is you need to go to preferences, and if you are someone who is working on the files or on the system that isn't really that smooth, then you need to start saving your files in auto save and make sure, for example, my system is really smooth, and so what I do is I have turned this auto save function for every 2 minutes, and the auto save location I have saved it to next to project, but you can choose custom location. But as long as you are concerned, I think you should save it next to the project, and you should always have the habit of hitting Ctrl plus S if you want to work. Okay, so now we are going to adjust anchor points. So anchor points are basically the center point, or they define the center of gravity of the object, if it makes sense to you. So for example, let's say here I pressed R to bring up the rotation property. Okay, so let's say I'm rotating it from here, so everything that will change in reference to this point. Okay, and I'm going to show you how to change it. So this is a selection tool. Okay, this is pan behind or anchor tool, and we press Y to bring up the pan behind anchor tool, and with that we can move the anchor point anywhere we want. And if you want to adjust it properly to any anchor point or to certain points like this, I don't know what it's called, but I'm pretty sure it's called snapping. But anyways, if you want to snap it like this, all you have to do is press Ctrl and then you move the cursor like, okay. So this is how anchor points work. They are really important, and don't mess up, because the anchor point has to be set up before you start animation, because if you do that later, every animation will be changed and it will mess up the project that you are working on, okay. And so I'm going to adjust this and place it right over here. You don't have to be as accurate, okay. I'm just going to see how okay, this looks better. Now let me bring this up so you can see it properly. Now I'm going to press V to bring up the selection tool. I don't really like this part here because it may complicate our animation in the later run. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this into a shape layer. So how we do that? So for example, we do that by going to create and create shapes from vector layer. So what this function does is that it turns our Illustrator files into a native shape layer that we can use and we can manipulate in After Effects, okay. And then I'm going to go into contents. So these are basically contents. This is group 1 and group 2. These are basically the two shapes that you see here, okay. The group 1 is this and the group 2 is this, okay. Now I think I don't like the group 1 part here, and I'm going to get rid of this by pressing delete, and then I'm going to bring up the group 2 part until it touches this part, okay. So I'm going to press G, okay. G is basically this tool, which is pen tool, and so I'm going to press G, and then it activates this points. And then I'm going to select this by pressing on it, and then I'm just going to drag it up, and then I'm going to press this shortcut, and then I'm going to press V, okay. And so this is what happens when you accidentally double click on any layer. So don't worry, you just have to go to here. I'm sorry, composition, not footage. And so what it does, it basically opens up a new window. Here you can, here this panel is used, I'm not sure, but this is used for rotoscoping, and I'm not an expert on that, but let's get back to the point. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to create something, okay. So I'm going to create a rectangle like this, and then I'm going to get rid of the stroke, and then I'm going to pick this color, okay. And I want to make sure that it's aligned properly and it's at the bottom. So to do that, what we do is we go to view and then show rulers, or we can use shortcut, which is Control R. I want you to get in the habit of using shortcuts, because as you can see, it saves lots of time, and although it may be uncomfortable, it's okay to be uncomfortable at this, okay. And so you have to do this even if you don't like this. That's the whole point, okay. And let me see if this is okay. And it's not okay. You see, I messed up adjusting the ruler, so I'm going to adjust the ruler, and I'm going to bring this box below. And now I'm going to rename this. To rename, all you have to do is press enter. Now double clicking doesn't work in this software, so I'm going to press enter, and then I'm going to rename this to box, okay. And I may resize it, okay. And then I'm going to give this the same color, so at least I know that these are both the same thing. Now we are going to start animation, but first, like I said, we need to set up the anchor point, okay. So I'm going to set up the anchor point for this one as well. Grab this tool by, I just pressed Y. Let me do that again for you. I pressed Y, and then I'm going to bring this here by pressing Control, and so it snaps, okay. I don't need to change anything on this because it's an immovable object. I'm not going to do anything with that, and this object also remains the same. I'm going to select this. Also, I'm going to press V, because this symbol that you see is for this anchor point tool. We need a selection tool, and to activate the selection tool, we press V, okay. That's how you know. And now I'm going to get rid of this, or I'm just going to place it below, and then I'm going to do the same thing for here. I'm going to go to create shapes from vector layer, okay. And then I'm going to turn this into different color. I'm going to change the anchor point. We don't really need that, but let me break down things to you, okay. So first of all, we are going to animate this, then we may animate something from this, and then we are going to animate this and this part. Let me get it out. Okay, this left part, this part has two groups, group 1 which is this box, and this group 2 which is this line. We need both of them to be animated, and in this part we need only this string like thing to be animated. So first things first is we are going to animate the top oil rig part. Okay, let me bring this timeline into perspective. Okay, and I'm going to keep things at 1 second. So first of all, I'm going to bring up the rotation keyframe. Now how to bring up, sorry, not rotation keyframe, rotation property. So let me walk you through some basic shortcuts first. So R is for rotation, P is for position, S is for scale, for opacity it's T. And so I'm going to press R and then I'm going to drop the keyframe. Okay. And then I'm going to zoom in a little bit. I'm going to press this shortcut, shift page down. So we use shift page down to move 10 frames ahead. Okay. And if you want to move frame by frame, you press page up, page down. Anyways, let me go back. So I'm going to press shift page down one more time, shift page down. So we are 20 frames ahead, and then I'm going to bring this below. I want it to be subtle. Okay, so I'm going to bring this below. This is minus 14 degrees. I'm going to go 10 or 20 frames ahead, shift page down, and then I'm going to copy this keyframe and then Control C and then Control V. Okay, and so I'm going to zoom in a little bit just to see. Okay, and I just pressed spacebar to activate this, which is basically a hand tool. So hand tool allows you to move things in your perspective like this. Okay, so you can use that by pressing spacebar. You can activate it anytime you want. Now I'm going to readjust the keyframes. I have selected them, and now I'm going to press Alt, and then I'm going to bring this, drag this like this. So I want the composition to have the 1 second. Okay, and now I'm going to bring the work area end to this point. Okay, so what's work area end? Okay, so this is basically a time ruler, this blue part that you see. Okay, so this part is the work area start, which is this little blue part that you see, and this is the end part. Okay, work area end. So what this does, it allows us to play and see the animation in the certain region. Okay, so you can select the region using this shortcut. The B is for the start, the N is for the end. So if I bring the time indicator here and I press B, it will be, the B will move here. Okay, and or if I press N. Okay, so you get the point, right? It's really simple. The shortcut will depend on the placement of time indicator. I hope I'm not making this too complicated. Anyways, let's see. So I'm going to press 0 to play. Okay, nice. Now I'm going to need an easing on this. Okay, so I'm going to go to keyframe assistant and easy ease. Okay, but the easing is not enough. Okay, the easing is not enough. So we are going to go to graph editor, which is this icon that you see, or you could press shift F3. Shift F3 is for the graph editor. Okay, now this is the graph. Now let me walk you through the graph in a simple way. So there are basically two graphs. One of them is called speed graph. The other one is value graph. The speed graph shows you the change in speed over time. The value graph shows you the change in value over time. Okay, it's that simple. Although it's simple, you have to develop a skill that will allow you to create the motion that you want. Okay, so when you select these points, these are basically the keyframes. Okay, these are the keyframes, and this graph allows you to control the motion of the keyframe in between. Okay, and so I'm going to drag this handle like this, and just a little bit. So one principle that you have to remember when it comes to speed graph is that higher this graph, faster the object. Lower this graph, slower the object. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing here. And so what I'm trying to do is I want the motion to be speedy, but I also want the motion to have a certain smoothness to it. Okay, so let's say if I amp it up a little bit like this, so this part is not going to look really that great. See, it looks great because of this part. We don't want it to be that speedy. Okay, so I'm going to hit Ctrl Z And let's see, I'm going to just a little bit. So what I want is I want this to have the effect of gravity. I don't know if that makes sense. So what happens is I want it to be go speed, and then it slows here and it slowly picks up and it gets back up. Okay, gets back down. See? Okay. And one more thing that I want you to remember is whenever you are trying to create the animation that is being looped, okay, this animation is going to be looped. So the animation that you have to do has to be 3 keyframes. Okay, so the first keyframe and the last keyframe are going to have the same position or almost identical position. It depends on the situation, but what I like to do is have the first and the last keyframe on the same value and then change in between. In that way, it's really easy to pre-compose this, and I'm going to show you the problem that you may run into if you don't follow this. Okay, now I'm going to animate this. So we are going to animate the path here. Okay, so go to groups, open up this and then go to group, and then we are going to animate the path. Okay, and so we are going to follow the same timing here. Okay, so we are going to use this rotation as a reference to it. Okay, and make sure that this doesn't happen. So what is happening here is that the keyframe is in between. So I'm just going to in between the frames and you may not reach it. Okay, see, so I'm going to drag the keyframe here. It doesn't affect much, but at least it allows us to work efficiently. And you have to be careful with this. Okay, so I'm going to drop the keyframe here as well. Now what we do is we change the path to this. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click on the path, and then this when this type of cursor is activated, you select it. Basically allows you to select these points, and then I'm going to press it up like this. Okay, and I'm going to hit my favorite shortcut, and let's see. Okay, now this doesn't look good because of the easing. The easing on both of them is really different, and we are going to solve that. Okay, so we are going to run into a problem on this. Okay, so the problem that we are going to face is that copying this easing is really tough. Okay, in order to minimize this problem, there is a script. Okay, you can of course you can copy this easing from this by looking at it, but think of it like this. So for example, let me show you this practically. Okay, so I'm going to ease this by going into keyframe assistant and easy ease, and you can hit F9. Now what you have to do is you have to deal with this, and you may not know how this is going to work on this because the graph looks really different from this graph, and this may confuse you. Okay, so what you may end up doing is that you may have to adjust it accordingly, and you may have to go back and forth and manage the motion, and this may take longer than you expect. So I'm going to first of all select this and turn them into a linear keyframe by just pressing Ctrl and then clicking on it. And so now we are going to need a script that will save us some time, and so the script is called ease copy. It's free. So you go to this aescripts.com and then you download it. It's name your own price. Okay, so you can basically download it, and once you download it, there is going to be this folder that shows you how to install it. I'm not going to install it and show it to you because I've already shown you FX console and how to use it. This may be a bit different, but all you have to do is just copy and paste the file that is in the folder. Okay, and then once the file is installed, you have to restart After Effects and then go to Windows, and when you go here, when you scroll down, you will be able to find ease copy somewhere. Okay, and so here we have ease copy. And so this is ease copy. So what ease copy allows us, it allows us to copy the easing of the keyframes from one layer to the another. Okay, but the only limitation, of course, the obvious limitation is that you cannot apply or copy keyframe, 2 keyframes, value of 2 keyframes and paste it on the 3 keyframes. The number of the keyframes that you are copying and the number of the keyframes that you are pasting on must be the same. That is the only thing that you have to remember. So I'm going to select this keyframes and then I'm going to hit copy, and then I'm going to go here and ease. and let's see if it has worked. And it does work. See, it really looks nice. Now I'm not going to animate the box, but we are going to animate this. And we are going to follow the same process. First of all, we are going to go into the group 1. I'm not going to animate this first. I'm going to animate this first. You know what? I'm going to animate this first. Okay. So I'm going to go to the path, property, and then I'm going to press U. So U basically brings up the keyframe on any given layer. When you press U, it will bring up the keyframe that has been set on the layer. Okay. If it doesn't have a keyframe, it won't open, of course. Okay. So I'm going to drop 3 keyframes like we did the last time. The reason why we do this is that we want to work systematically. We want to think long term. Okay, you want to think long term. And if you do think systematically, when you start to have clients, you are going to have a system that is in place, whereas other people have no system. And so their work is not efficient. What this allows you to do is that it may take longer to learn, or it may take longer to have the systems, but in the long run, you are going to have the systems that will allow you to have professionalism in your life. Okay. I'm going to change this because I think this needs to be taller at the beginning. Okay. So I'm going to change this like this. And so I'm going to copy this keyframe because we have changed the path, and I'm going to paste this here. Okay. And we don't even need to animate. It's done on its own. See? And now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to paste the easing here. And then we are going to animate the stringy thing, I guess. And then I'm going to go into path and set up the keyframe and then hit U so I can see every keyframe. And then I don't know what I want to do here, but I just want to move this a little bit so there seems like there is a motion. And then I'm going to go at the end and then Control C, Control V, and then ease. Okay. This might be a little bit too much. I don't know. I don't like this. So I'm going to press G to bring up the keyframes. The path, and then I'm going to select this. Okay, this looks nice. Okay, so now I'm going to open up this oil rig main. First of all, let me get rid of this. So this is our empty folder. We have our oil rig main here, and now I'm going to go and bring the oil rig PC in this folder, and then I'm going to apply the fill effect. And then I'm going to change the color. So basically the fill effect allows us to change the color on any layer. Okay. There are not many factors on this, so I'm not going to show you this. There are because I don't use it that much as well. I only use it to color because that's the only use, I guess, at least that I know of. Okay. So now I'm going to hit S to bring up the scale, and then I'm going to scale this down. But before that, there is something that we need to do, and that is open up the proportion grid. Okay. So this grid that you see has been created with this shortcut. Or if you want to open it, you can open this from this. You go to here and then choose title action shift. Okay. And now I'm going to divide this. I just want to have a center point for it. And so I'm going to bring up the ruler. To bring up the ruler, you have to go to view and show rulers, or you can press Ctrl R, as you can see here, Ctrl R. Okay. And then I'm going to zoom in and align this ruler to the center. So we have, and don't worry if you don't want to do this, that's completely fine. This is just how I work. Anyways, now I'm going to, I don't want this, I'm going to flip this. Okay. So to flip this, all you have to do is to go to transform by right clicking on this and then flip horizontal. Okay. And then I'm going to rescale it. Okay. Now we need a base because this looks baseless. And so I'm going to create, the reason why we have this arrow appearing is because the rulers are not locked, or the guides are not locked. Okay. So I'm going to lock the guides by pressing this. Okay. Now it won't happen. And so I'm going to create a line, a shape layer basically, by opening up the pen, by selecting the pen tool and just drawing the lines this. I'm going to change the strokes like this, and then I'm going to rename this to rename, press enter and just enter the name. Okay, now we don't have a background, but we are going to create that, and then I'm going to bring this below this, and I'm going to align it in the center. Okay, it is already in the center. And so let's see the animation. So animation stops. Okay, and the animation stops because we have keyframes set up for the 1 second only. Okay, now the problem that I was talking about is that in After Effects there are ways to solve the problems using expressions. Okay, so what are expressions? So expressions are basically the code that you can write in After Effects, and this code will help you solve the problem. For example, this is a rotation property. We have animated the rotation property, and now I don't want to loop this keyframe by pressing Ctrl C, Ctrl V and loop it all the time. Okay, it is not only time consuming, but it is going to make my timeline look worse, and it may slow the system down as well. So what After Effects allows us to do is it allows us to use some code that will help us shorten the time period, and it will shorten our work and it will help us. Okay, so we activate the expression by pressing Alt and clicking on this. See, it says here Alt click add or remove expression. Okay, so I'm going to press Alt or Option, and then I'm going to click on this stopwatch, and then this dialog box is what allows us to add expression. So we write the expression here. For example, I'm going to write in loop, and the After Effects suggest this expression, and I'm going to choose this expression because I'm not aware of how this language works. This is probably HTML, I'm not sure, but there is a language for this as well. Then you can learn it if you want, but if you don't have to, I don't know it as well. Anyways, this is loop out. Okay, and then just enter, and the rotation will be looped here. Okay, but the problem with this is that the path cannot be looped. I don't know why, but the path cannot be looped without a longer expression that I don't know. You can find it online, but you cannot loop path in the same way as that of rotation property. Okay, so this red thingy indicates that you have expressions applied. Okay, and you can get rid of the expression by pressing this enable expression and disable expression. Anyways, so I'm going to show you why it doesn't work or how it doesn't work on path. Okay, I'm going to press Alt and then loop out, and we get this error, and this error says that we cannot loop the path. Okay, so I'm going to hit OK, and then I'm going to get rid of this, and then I'm going to get rid of this as well. So the faster way to solve this problem is by cutting up this composition and looping the composition on its own. So what we do is we trim comp to work area, or we use the shortcut which is Ctrl Shift X. Okay, Ctrl Shift X. I don't know why that doesn't work. Let me try that again. Ctrl Shift X. And see, the shortcut sometimes may not work, but you see this is getting looped really nicely. And then we go to the main composition. You can see how short this composition is. Okay, and so this trick solves all our problem with one shot. Okay, so what we do is right click and then go to time, enable time remapping. What time remapping allows us is that it allows us to basically control the time of the composition. Okay, if it makes sense. As you can see, the composition is now, its length is that of the composition. Before that, or before applying the time remapping effect, it was short, and now it's huge. You can expand this to any time duration. Okay, so the shortcut for that is Ctrl Alt T. Okay, and now what we do is we press Alt and then we click on this stopwatch. Okay, and then we apply the same looping expression and then hit enter, and then it will be looped easily. Okay, but there is going to be some glitches here. I'm pretty sure you noticed, or you may have not noticed. So what this time remapping does is that it always does this. I don't know why, but every time this last keyframe appears, the composition disappears entirely, and it gives this glitchy feeling, you can see. So to solve this problem, all you have to do is press page up, okay, and then drop a keyframe and then get rid of the last keyframe. by pressing delete, and then the problem is solved. Okay, so we have the basic oil rig animation ready. Okay, so we have done our basic animation for the oil rig, and now we are going to animate and create this bottom part that you see here. But before that, let me create a solid for this because we don't have a background yet. I'm going to change this, and of course the shortcut that to create a solid is Control Y. I'm pretty sure you saw that, but if you want to do that, you can go to New, Solid, Create Solid. Okay, and of course I have the habit of hitting Control S every now and then, so if it bothers you, and also there is this pigeon in the background. I don't know why it makes me angry. I don't know if you like pigeons, but I don't like them at all. Anyways, so this is our basic animation, and also I want to align this to the center as well. Everything should be aligned to the center. We are going to start working on the bottom part of the anime. Okay, so I'm going to create, first of all I'm going to lock this, select them accidentally, and now I'm going to select this, and then I'm going to select rectangle tool, and then I'm going to create a rectangle here. Okay, so let me do that again, show you properly. So when you press shift and drag this like this, it allows you to, this pigeon is really disturbing me, man. Anyways, it allows you to create perfect rectangles. Okay, and so this stroke is bit of too much, so I'm going to change this to 5, and then I'm going to change the color to be blue. Okay, this one looks better. I'm going to rename this to AI_box. Now I'm going to go into the rectangle one, and then I'm going to change the roundness. Let me show that to you. Okay, I'm going to bring it below and change its size. Okay, now I'm going to duplicate this. I'm going to duplicate this again by pressing Control D. Control D is a lifesaver. Okay, because if you want to duplicate, you have to go to here and then you have to duplicate it. Okay, you don't have to do that. Now I'm going to align layers. They may be already aligned. Okay, so make sure that when you align these layers to each other, this selection is selected, is active and not the composition. Okay, now I'm going to rename this. This is going to be AE, and I'm going to rename this as well. This is going to be PS. Okay, now add in text. So the text, the font that I'm going to use is Montserrat bold. I'm going to type in AI. So I pressed Control Alt Home to bring the keyframe, bring the anchor point to the center. Okay, let me show you how so the anchor point is the most important part. I already told you in the last lecture, but you don't have to adjust anchor points every time. Okay, or you can use this shortcut, which is Control Alt Home, which brings the anchor point to the center of the object, and I'm snapping this to the center, and then I'm going to make this look better. And I'm going to duplicate this. I'm going to bring this here, change this AI into AE. Okay, and now I'm going to duplicate this again. I'm going to bring this up, and then I'm going to write this PS. So our basic structure is now ready. Of course, there is lots of work to do yet, but basic structure is ready. Now let's color everything so that we can separate and differentiate. You don't have to do that. These are the habits that I have developed over time, but it helps me keep and navigate things really quickly. Okay, and now we are going to need a plugin, a free plugin that is a lifesaver. So we are going to use Saber plugin. Okay, I'm going to show you how to install it. This plugin is also by Video Copilot, and the FX console is also by Video Copilot. Okay, Andrew Kramer from the Video Copilot has been a lifesaver. So anyways, you download this. I'm going to download this for Windows, and then I'm going to select save, and then I'm going to open up this, and then I'm going to extract this. I'm going to find the folder. I don't know where this is here. And when you click on this, just follow the process and it will be installed automatically. Okay, you don't have, there is nothing much to do here. All you have to do is double click on this, and then everything is self-explanatory. Okay, I'm not going to do that. Also, one more thing that I must remind you is that if your After Effects is already running when you are installing this, you may have to restart your After Effects. Okay, and once it is installed, you can find this plugin in here. Okay, under Video Copilot. Okay, but we are not going to use this panel because we have something even better. And now let's start. So first of all, I'm going to show you how Saber works so that you have the idea. Okay, so I'm going to create a new solid. To create new solid, all you have to do is right click, new solid, or you can press Ctrl Y, and then I'm going to call this Saber. Okay, and we have our Saber layer here. And now I'm going to press Ctrl plus spacebar, and then I'm going to apply Saber, and the Saber has been applied. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to select this. See where the center is. Center is here. I'm going to choose pen tool, and then I'm going to select this Saber. I have hidden this layer so that you can see it, and I can see it, so at least I can apply it properly. But what if you want to see that, you can bring the Saber below and then turn it on. Okay, and of course turn this into add so you can see everything. This is a blending mode, by the way. Okay, these are different blending modes. I have turned add in this. Anyways, now I'm going to create mask on this. And make sure that the mask that you create looks really nice, clean and tidy. It has to be, because this path has to look good. Okay, and if you want to change this, so all you have to do is go at the handle and then press Alt, so you can easily change the only part. If you don't press the Alt, and then everything changes. Okay, so just keep that in mind. And so we have our mask ready. Now this Saber works on masks. Okay, and so you go to customize core and then layer masks. And as you can see, mask is now a Saber layer and the glow is absolutely stunning. And as you can see, it really looks nice. Okay, now let's go back to the Saber effect, and so I'm going to change the core size. Now the basic setup is ready. Let me rename this Saber underscore AI base. So we are going to use this as a base layer, and then we are going to move those ray beams along this way. Okay, so I'm going to bring this here, duplicate this, pressing Ctrl D, and then I'm going to change the color on the top layer and change this to beam. So this effect basically works like trim paths. If you know what trim paths are, this is how it works. So what we are going to do is we are going to animate this start offset and end offset. I mean start offset and end offset in a way that it makes this beam look really nice. Okay, so I don't think I'm going to like this color, but first of all, let's start the basic animation. Okay, so I'm going to drop the keyframe at the start offset. I'm going to turn both of them to 0. Okay, So I dropped a keyframe at the start offset and end offset. We are going to customize this later, and I'm going to explain how this is working. And then I'm going to press shift page down to go 10 frames ahead, and then shift page down, basically 20 frames. Okay, and then I'm going to change this to 100, and I'm going to change this to 100. Okay, and we are going to move this like this. Okay, and now I'm going to change the glow intensity, change the core size, and let me change this so that it looks really like a beam or something of that. And then I'm going to turn this into blue. I'm going to increase the intensity. Okay, so let's see. I'm not satisfied with how this looks. I have changed this, so I'm playing around with this, and let me be honest, I'm not aware of how the saber works at the deep, and so I can tell you how everything is working in this effect, but all I know is that it works. If you want to make it work, it can work like trim path. Okay, I'm going to show that to you in a little bit. Anyways, let's see. Okay, the timing matches perfectly, and I don't like the color on the base as well. Let's make some changes to the base because I don't know. I want to hide the mask because this mask is getting in between. So what I can do is I can press the shortcut, which is Control Shift H. So this shortcut basically hides the bounding box in the mask. Okay, and make sure that you turn it back on. So if I don't turn it back on, I won't be able to see the mask. If I turn it back on, I will be able to see the mask. Okay, so Control Shift H is the shortcut. Anyways, let me see. And we are going to play around here. Okay, this might actually work. I think 150 would do. I just copied it and pasted it. I don't know why it didn't work. Okay. What? Okay, I don't know why I did that. But okay, you get the point. Okay, this looks nice. So first of all, let me show you how I created this animation. So what I did is I basically had start and end at 0. Let me just bring them at the first frame so that you can understand. So both of them, start offset and offset, are at 0. Okay, and at the end both of them are at 100. Okay, so when we are moving the keyframes like this, we are allowing the software to identify the in-betweens. Okay, this difference 75-50, this difference is what allowing this flow like thingy to appear. Okay, if you don't move it, it won't appear because the position are at stationary. So this allows us to have the movement. As you can see, it really looks nice. We are going to make it even much better. Don't worry about that. Okay, and now we are going to repeat this process for everything. Okay, and then Control Shift H, because okay, so I'm going to rename this to AE, and I'm going to show you something cool. I don't know if it's going to work or not, but I'm going to parent this to this. Okay, and so when I bring this here, everything aligns on its own. Okay, and so as you can see, this already looks stunning, and it was really easy because even I didn't know this was going to work or not. I just gave it a try and it worked. Now I'm going to change the color. I don't know, let's make things interesting. Holy crap, this is too much, but it's okay to be too much. Okay, you are in the world of internet where attention is everything. Okay, this looks nice, but we need to have path that looks good. This doesn't look good. Okay, the reason why I'm being stupid and the reason why I cannot change it, because I have parented this to this. So what I did, and I apologize for not explaining that, but what I did was I parented this mask path with this pick whip. This is a property pick whip, as you can read. So what this allows you to do is that it allows you to parent things. Okay, so I parented this mask path from this layer to this layer. So basically, if I make change to this path, the change is going to happen in this layer as well, as you can see. See, so I don't have to manually change things here. I can directly change this, and everything is going to be handled on its own. Okay. Okay, this looks nice. Okay, nice. Now we are going to follow the same process by pressing Ctrl D and then bringing it up. And then I'm going to rename this. Anyways, let's bring up the mask. So I want the mask path to be parented to this. What I'm trying to do is I want this beam saber underscore ps to be parented. Its mask path to be parented to base saber ps and not this. Okay, and that's why I redid it. Okay, and now we are going to follow the same process. I don't know, I want to make this look much better. This looks... Ugh. Ugh. I don't like this. Ugh. Okay, let's see. Okay, nice. So let us make things better because we choose to, right? And also, so first of all, I'm just adjusting and making things look better. This looks scary. I don't know why, but this looks scary. It's as if I'm watching Naruto. You know that nine-tailed wolf? Fox? It's not wolf, it's a fox. Damn. So Albert Einstein has said that insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. So I hope you don't do the same mistake as I did. I tried to change in this, but since this is parented to this, it won't change. Okay, so keep that in mind. Now let's change colors. I don't know, it shouldn't be green. This is, I think this really is too much. Also the red is bothering me. Not because it's red, but it's because it's too much. I want it to be light. Okay, let's see. Now we are talking. Okay, this looks nice. Now, I was talking about the problem that we might face. So the problem that we might face is that of this beam. Okay, so the looping of this beam is going to be really tough, and we don't want to waste our time on that. Okay, so what we are going to do is that we are going to pre-compose the beam. Okay, let me take few steps back, and to pre-compose, I don't know how to do that. Okay, to pre-compose, you just select pre-compose, but if you don't want to do that, you press Ctrl Shift C. See, and then beam saber AI underscore PC, and then move all attributes into the new composition. This is really important. If you don't, if you choose this, only the layer will be moved, the effect won't be moved, or it may not be moved. I'm not sure, but choose this option and then hit OK. And now the reason why this has happened is because the blending mode went on with it. Okay, so when you select add, everything will be back to normal. Okay, and then we go back into the main composition, and then we zoom in, we press U, and I'm not going to ease this because it's really simple, and then we are going to go to composition, trim comp to work area, or just like always, I'm going to use my favorite shortcuts, and this is how it looks. Wow, nice. Okay, and so we go back to the main composition, and then we follow the same process. I'm going to pre-compose this underscore PC, and then move all attributes. Okay, and we have an error, and you know why we have an error. And the reason why we have this error is because the mask is parented, and so this may return some problems, this may create some problems. But now since we don't need to create the since we don't need any changes in masks, we can easily get rid of the expressions. Okay, no, this may not work. So what we can do is we can duplicate this. Okay, now we are going to use some cheap tricks because I don't know the solution to this as well. Anyways, I'm going to duplicate this, and then I'm going to pre-compose this, or we are going to pre-compose both of them. Saber underscore AE underscore PC, and then add. Okay, and then I'm going to hit Ctrl Shift X to basically turn that into. Okay, so this is a flowchart. I opened it using tab. Okay, tab, when you press tab, it opens up. Anyways, let's see. Okay, this is looking nice, and now I'm going to pre-compose this as well. Excuse me. And now I'm going to call this saber underscore PS underscore PC, and then move all attributes and then turn this blending mode into add, and then Control Shift X, Control Shift X. Okay, we might run into problems with this later, but for now it's completely okay, and we are going to solve the problems when they occur because we are capable. Okay, you are capable, I am capable. Anyways, you can see how this is going to look, and if you think it's too much, you can of course bring down the opacity, but I suggest you don't do that. But if you think it's too much, you can go back here and then start making some changes in this. Okay, for example, let's say here you want to change the glow intensity to, for example, 25. Okay, it may reduce the glow intensity, but this is like really less. I don't like it. See, remember, the purpose of this reel is to grab attention, and sometimes you may have to exaggerate to certain level. Okay, and it's completely okay to do that, and so we are doing that. We are exaggerating a bit, and it's okay. And so this is our second stage of animation, which is done. Okay, so in the previous chapter we completed this Illustrator AE and PS file. Okay, and now we are going to move further, and so in this lecture we are going to create barrels that we need. But before that, I'm going to rearrange the folder because I'm in our project, because I want it to be as tidy as possible. Okay, so I'm going to select every underscore PC and then move it to PC, and then I'm going to move this solids into this file. Anyways, let me give color to this composition, so at least I know that the red one is the main composition, and I can see that here as well. Okay, anyways, let's get back to the topic, and now I'm going to close this because I don't need them anymore. If we need it, we can open it from here. I'm going to create a new composition, and this composition is going to be 10 seconds long, and it's going to be 1080 by 1080, and then I'm going to call this barrel underscore PC. Okay, and now I'm going to create barrel. So first of all, I'm going to create a rectangle. I'm going to get the rectangle, and then I'm going to create a barrel, something like this. Now I'm going to get rid of the stroke here, and then I'm going to color this to white for now, and then we want there to be a depth to it so that it actually looks like a barrel. Now this doesn't look like a barrel at all. I'm sure you can tell if this is a barrel or not. Anyway, so I'm going to select the pen tool. You can select the pen tool from here, or I'm going to press the shortcut, which is G, and then I'm going to change this color to something darker like this, and then I'm going to draw a field. I don't know if it's called a field. I don't know why I said field. You know, English is not my primary language, so I may have trouble here, and so I beg your pardon, and please don't judge me. See, I still make mistakes even though I'm so fond of shortcuts. Anyways, so what I did is that I created this shape, and then I'm just going to press Alt and try to create things like this. Anyways, we have the shape here. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so that I can expand, and so I'm going to select this and expand it here, and I'm going to see here, and I'm going to make it look better. You don't have to be perfect. I know this is not perfect, but it works. It looks Nice. And now I'm going to create another stroke. So first of all, let's rename everything. So this is base barrel. Now the reason why I'm not renaming everything is because I'm going to put everything on the same shape layer. Okay, so I'm going to hit Control X, and then I'm going to go to Contents, select Contents, and then Control V. And then I'm going to bring this. The reason why it's not visible is because it's below this layer. And so I'm going to bring this shape one to the top. Now we have our base barrel ready. Okay, and now I'm going to select this, and then I'm going to add a stroke in the center. Okay. And then I'm going to make this, get rid of the fill, and turn on this, and make this something like this. So this is basically a hole that the coin will move into. And the reason why I don't like making everything on the same layer is that I cannot align everything here because they basically are on the same layer. And so it's really hard to adjust things here. And so I'm going to make this larger. And now I'm just going to bring this into the, or at least try to bring that into the center. And it looks like it's in the center. But anyways, it doesn't have to be perfect. And so our base barrel is ready, and now I'm going to give this a white stroke. I don't know, make this 5, I guess. But this doesn't look right. The reason why is because of these edges that has been created. So how do we get rid of them? So first of all, I'm going to reduce the size of the stroke. And it looks nice. And now I'm going to create the base. I'm going to get rid of the, I'm going to select the shape layer, rectangle tool, and then I'm going to enable fill. And then I'm just going to create random shape, rectangle, then place it below, and I'm going to call this floor. Okay, and then I'm going to align this, and I'm going to align this as well. I don't know what this is, but this is an empty shape layer, and it really happens. Okay, and I'm going to get rid of the proportional or title action shape thingy by pressing this shortcut, and this looks decent. So now we are going to give this money. So I'm going to type in $, and I'm going to give this blue color. Damn. See, this is what happens sometimes. So what happened here is that I had selected the layer, okay, but I changed the color without selecting the text. Okay, so what you have to do is don't go into this typing mode and then select the entire layer, and then you will be able to see the result. Okay, and so I'm going to select this, and we may change color later. For example, I don't think blue would look good because I want the other background colors to be blue, and so also I just press Ctrl Alt Home to recenter the anchor point here. Okay, and I'm going to scale it up, and I'm going to turn this into black. And also I'm going to change the color to something like this. Okay, so we have our barrel ready, and you know what, I'm going to bring this just a bit down, and I don't know. Okay, so that might be too much. So I'm going to keep this at 17, and I'm going to try to recenter this and resize this. Okay, and let me change the color just a little bit. Okay, this one looks nice. Now I'm going to save this, and I'm also going to move this in the main work folder. We have our barrel and the shape ready. And so now we are going to create coin. Okay, so to create the coin, I'm going to press Q. Okay, now I'm going to walk you through how to select shape layers. Okay, so this is a shape layer tool, and then this is an ellipse tool. Okay, so what you can do is you can just go here and just long press here and then select on ellipse tool, or what you can do is press Q. Okay, so when you hit Q, this is a basic rectangle, this is rounded rectangle. Pay attention here. Okay, this is rounded rectangle here, and then this is an ellipse tool. Okay, so what is happening is that when you are pressing Q, you are switching through this. Okay, and then so I pressed Q long enough to achieve ellipse, and then I'm going to create an ellipse by pressing Shift. And so by default in After Effects, sometimes or most of the times the anchor point is created in the center of the composition. Okay, so that's why the anchor point was at the center. Now I'm going to change this color to this, fill to this, and then I'm going to change the stroke to something like this. Not want it to be subtle. And so we have our structure for the coin ready. I'm going to resize this. Before that, we need dollar sign on that. So text tool is, this is the text tool or type tool to be more professional, to sound more professional. And to activate it, what I did was I pressed Ctrl T, or you could just go here and then select this, and then you will be able to type. Okay, so I'm going to type dollar. And the reason why I keep telling you about the shortcuts is that if you are in this industry, if you are in this industry for the long run, if you want to stay in the long run, you have to learn shortcuts. And not just in this software. I'm not just talking about After Effects. I'm talking about everything, every software or everything that you learn. You need to have those shortcuts in place. Okay, so let me make changes to the color of the coin. Okay, so we have this coin ready. Now the problem that you might face, especially as a beginner, is that what we are going to do is that we are going to create animation in a way that the coin gets inserted in this part. Okay, so what happens is, first of all, let me parent this dollar to this shape, which is our coin. Let me rename that so that you can understand. Okay, so what I did is, this is a pick whip tool, by the way, parent pick whip tool, as you can read. So when you parent this to anything, the layer that is parented, so this is basically coin. So the dollar here is basically coin's child. Okay, so wherever the dollar goes, the coin follows, and hence the name parenting. Okay, so you have to choose parents wisely. Anyways, so what we want to do is, we want this coin to get inserted in this part and then disappear. Okay, and for that we are going to use matte. And don't worry about that, I'm going to walk you through that But the problem that we might face is that both this coin and this dollar needs to be on the same layer. Okay, and the reason why we need that is that it not only makes things simple, but it will also help us achieve the animation with efficiency. Okay, so there are two ways around this. Okay, first of all, I can parent this to coin, and then I can animate the coin, and then I can apply the matte to the dollar. Or what I can do is I can create shapes from text, and then I can go inside, and then I can press Ctrl X. I don't know why first time Ctrl X doesn't work. Every time this happens every time. Now I'm going to press Ctrl X and it's going to work. See, it works. And then I'm going to go into contents, select contents, not the coin, select contents, and then press Ctrl V. And then now you have to be careful when you are moving things here. Okay, so what you might do is you might end up doing this. This may change the shape. So see, and so I'm going to zoom in just a little bit so I can see clearly, but it still moves. Or you could just go to transform and change the position. Also, the reason why this isn't appearing is because the layer is on the back. I'm going to bring it in the front, and I'm going to rescale this, and I'm going to just guess or assume that this is the center. Let me see how this looks, that it's in the center. I'm going to rescale it, and then I'm going to select this, and I'm just going to eyeball this, and then press my favorite shortcut, which is this. So we have our coin ready. Now I'm going to delete this, and we have the basic structure of our coin ready. Yeah, one mistake that I made, I just realized this. So one mistake that I made in explaining this is that if both layers were on a different layer, what you can do is you can of course pre-compose it, but we don't want to use pre-composition when we are using such lighter and normal layers. We can solve, if you can see that the rule of thumb that you have to follow is that if you can solve the problem in the same composition, then you must do so by any means. You don't need any composition. This applies to you, especially if you are someone who is working on the systems that isn't really that quick. If your system is slow, then you need to keep these things in mind. But if your system is fast, you can of course pre-compose it, and then you can make many changes to this. But I want you to keep things simple. We need to get things done as quickly as possible. Okay. Now we are going to animate this. Let me see the layers. These are the layers. Now there are going to be two animations. Okay, so this is going to be a 20 frame animation. So first of all, I'm going to set up a keyframe on the scale. Okay, so the animation that I want to achieve is I want this coin to pop up, and then I want to fall it in this pocket that we have created in this barrel. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to create the scale animation. So I'm going to set up a keyframe on the first frame, and then I'm going to press shift page down, which is 10 frames, which brings us at the 10th frame of the composition. And then I'm going to drop a keyframe. I'm going to drop another keyframe at the 5 seconds. And so let me do that again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So when you press page down, it moves only one frame. When you press it with shift, that is shift page down, it moves 10 frames ahead. And I'm going to drop the keyframe here. Okay, so I'm going to explain this why I did what I did. Don't worry. Okay, so I'm going to press 0 here. So we basically start with nothing, and then I'm going to resize this, and then I'm going to scale it even down, and I'm going to try to make this in a way, and I'm sorry for those birds' voices in the background if it's bothering you. And I'm just going to take a ruler, and I'm going to scale it. Okay, let me do that again. I'm going to scale it until it fits the size of the ruler. Okay, Okay, so first of all, let me explain the scale animation, why I did what I did. Okay, so first of all, what is happening is that we start with a 0 and then it pops up and it goes up to 127, that is almost 130, and then it scales back down. So this is the principle of squash and stretch. Okay, this principle of animation is squash and stretch. So we are basically giving this animation more depth than it should. I don't know than it should, but it should have this. Okay, and so it basically pops up and then it goes to this size of this pocket. This pocket by, I mean this pocket. Okay, and also let me change something. Let's make this rounded rectangle. Okay, and to make this not rounded rectangle, just the end points, I want them to be rounded. So I'm going to go into stroke and then change the butt cap to round cap. This looks much better. See, one another rule of thumb is that whenever you are creating something that is a shape, always try to have rounded things and not edgy things. Okay, so to give you a slight example, okay, so let's say we have triangle and we have circle. The more friendly shape to the psychology is rounded, the circle, and the more evil shape, if you notice the villains, the bad guy in any movie, it's always people with the triangular shape of their face are the most evil people. Okay, so I don't know why, but this is the psychology of the shape. Just a side information for you. Okay, and so that's why there is this boom of rounded rectangles. Everywhere you see there is this rounded rectangles. Okay, so keep that in mind. Anyways, now I'm going to start animating the position property, and so I'm going to press Alt Shift P, or you could just press P and then drop a keyframe here and then press U again, and to reveal the keyframes. Okay, and then I'm going to press Shift Page down and I'm going to animate the position property and bring this below until the pocket fits. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so this looks really bad. You know why this looks bad? The reason why it looks bad is because the size, this is too much. Let's bring this to 115. And there another reason why this looks bad is because of the easing. Okay, we haven't eased this, and so after easing you are going to see how important easing is. Okay, so I'm going to select these keyframes and keyframe assistant and easy ease, but if you are a shortcut lover like me, just press F9. Okay, and then I'm going to go into graph editor by pressing Shift F3, and then I'm going to zoom in a little bit, and then I'm going to change this and this. This might be too much. Because I'm trying to make changes here and I'm using the hand tool. Okay, and let's see. Okay, now I'm going to make same thing at the position animation. I'm going to select that and then keyframe assistant, easy ease, and then I'm going to go into graph editor to make this slower, and so everything may make sense now. See, so it's popping up and then falling down, popping up, falling down, popping up, but we can still make this better. And so I'm going to go into the graph editor again by choosing the scale property, and then that's a beautiful sound of the bird, by the way. I'm going this may be too much, but I'm just trying combinations of what works and what may not work. So let's see. This wasn't too much. It was actually beautiful. Okay, now this looks stunning. So we have our coin animation ready. Let's see. Now the next problem that we have to solve is we need to bring everything in this. We need to bring this coin in this pocket basically. Okay, so I'm going to create a rectangle by going here, choosing this, or by pressing Q. And the reason why I keep yelling these shortcuts is because if you are someone who is doing this with me, I mean, if you are creating this with me on your computer, then you can do that too while working on the project with me. Okay, if you are following along. And this snapping, I really hate the snapping, so I'm going to get rid of this rulers by pressing this shortcut. See, I make mistakes with shortcuts as well. It's okay, you are not alone. Create this random, not random, but it has to be the size of a pocket, and then I'm going to call this mat for coin. Okay, bring this, drag this so that you can see this, and let's see. So first of all, this section is track mat. Mats allows us to control the visibility of the layer. Okay, the big difference is that mats are a separate layer where masks are part of the same layer. Okay, and this opens up tons of possibilities, and that's absolutely right. So I'm going to go here and then choose mat for coin. So this basically activates alpha mate, but alpha mate does not work. So what happens is the coin will be activated, or coin will be visible whenever we are in this shape. Okay, but we don't want that. We want the coin to disappear in that pocket or in that mat. Okay, so I'm going to invert, and to invert the mat, all you have to do is click here. It's inverted. Okay, so let's see. It's working, but the animation is quite faster than it should be. Okay, and so I'm going to drag this and drag this just a little bit so that I can see clearly. Let's arrange the mat. Okay, so what you can do is you can change the timing of this. Okay, so you, for example, let's say for example, here we have 10 frames animation of 10 frame position animation of this coin. Okay, so what we can do is we can clearly change the timing of it to make it even more subtle. Okay, so I just randomly did that, and let's see, it literally looks as if it's falling in that pocket, but let's see it. But I'm not satisfied with this, so we are going to play with the graph. But this animation may be too long. This animation may be too long for us, so I'm going to undo everything, and then I'm going to work on the graph editor like always. See, the graph editor is everything. I'm not going to repeat this, but it's really important, and I'm pretty sure you can see by this that how efficient it is, how powerful it can be. Okay, and so what happens is it's really fast at the end, and that's why we are not able to see that. And so I'm going to bring this graph just a little. You see, just by little change, so little things makes a huge difference. So this proves that quote, right? It goes in, it goes in, it goes in, and this looks stunning. Okay, so our coin is now ready. Also, I don't know if you can see another problem, but I want the pause to be there. Okay, you might be thinking, what pause? Okay, so when it pops up and it starts to fall down, there needs to be pause, but that pause disappears because of the graph, because of the motion, change in the motion. Okay, so I'm going to bring this up, and I only want to change. So what I'm doing is, what is going to happen is, I want the pause to be here in this part. Okay, so see, it's really slow, and I was talking about this pause. We can make it even more extreme, but it's not going to, because it will clearly disappear before it enters the pocket. Okay, also if you want to make this pause obvious, what you can do is you can bring this keyframe here. Okay, let's see how that looks, and let's see. So this one looks much better than what I had expected. This was accidental. And so many of the creative things that you are going to make are going to be accidental. Okay, it's not going to, no, you cannot plan everything. You have to surrender to the process. You have to remember this. Surrender to the process. See how beautiful that looks. And even it's visible when it goes into the pocket. Okay, that's the beauty of this. What if we bring this here? Let's make changes to the graph now that we have certain time. As you can see, it's going in. It's really going in. There are so many things you can do here, but we want to keep things as simple as possible, and we want to move forward. Keep moving forward. Okay, you don't want to get stuck in the process of making things. Like, I know we can do so many things here. For example, we can add an effect called light sweep or line sweep. I don't know. Let's see. But it's sweep, it must be light sweep. So you can add this effect as well to sell the coin, but you might have to walk a little bit. I'm not going to do that. But the point is, there are going to be times when you want to keep things and make things perfect, but you have to let go of the perfection and you have to surrender to the process, and you have to trust that things are going to work out in a way or in your favor. Okay, so I'm going to go into Oil Rig PC. I'm sorry, Oil Rig underscore main. Let me close this. And then I'm going to go into PC, and then I'm going to bring the barrel here. Okay, and then I'm going to resize this, place it here. Okay, let's see. Also, the coin has to be looped. See, we can make this mistake. And we are going to repeat the same process. We are not going to loop this and then, but we are going to trim this composition by pressing Ctrl Shift X, or you could go to here. I'm sorry, not edit, composition, and then trim comp to work area, which is the shortcut for that is Ctrl Shift X. And we are done. See, it's looped beautifully. And now we are going into the main composition, and then I'm going to press Ctrl Alt T, which is the shortcut for time remapping, or you could go to time, enable time remapping. Okay, Ctrl Alt T, and now I'm going to hit once the keyframes are set up, I'm going to press Alt and then drop the expressions, which is loop out, and then I'm going to go select this one. Okay, loop out. And done. But also I'm pretty sure the After Effects is going to make this happen again, so I'm going to go back page up. Let me zoom this. Okay, so I'm going to go back one frame. I'm going to drop the keyframe here. I'm going to get rid of the later keyframe, hit delete, and then okay, this looks nice. So one thing that is bothering me is the size of the oil rig. Oil rig is too small. I don't know if it's me but it has to be bigger. Come on. So I'm going to resize that. This might be too big. Let me get rid of the rulers. Also, you have to remember that in animation there are no rules. The only rules there are rules that you make. Of course, there are principles of animation. I'm not saying that. But when it comes to creativity, there are no rules. You are bounded by only yourself and your imagination. Okay. And so we have our coin animation ready. Now let's make this look better. So I'm going to press this. I'm going to bring this until the end. Also, if you want to adjust things, all you have to do is pre-compose everything. For example, I can pre-compose this, and then everything is going to be on its own. But for now, I don't want to do that. I don't know why, but I don't want anyways. And now I'm going to select this barrel, move this here. And then I'm going to duplicate this by pressing Ctrl D, and then I'm going to resize this. And the reason why we pre-compose everything is this. See, it really allows us to have this freedom to do things. I'm going to resize the oil rig. So you have to try certain things. Certain things are going to work, certain may not work. You have to see what really works, what doesn't work. Okay, to just this, and then I'm going to duplicate this, and then I'm going to place this in the back. I'm going to resize this, and then we are going to use some cheap tricks. So I'm going to apply an effect called hue and saturation. Okay, So there are so many properties, don't ask me, but no, okay, you can ask. But so this is color range. It basically allows us to work in the color range. This is master hue. Hue is basically the color, okay, see. And then there is saturation. So let's see what saturation is. So saturation describes the intensity of the color, and lightness refers to how light or dark the color is, okay. So that's self-explanatory. So I'm going to bring down the saturation. I'm going to make this little bit darker, and the reason why we do that is we want to show the audience that there is this depth, okay. And then I'm going to duplicate it again, and then I'm going to bring this here, and I may change this. Let's see. Okay. And so that's the coin and the barrel animation done. Our oil rig animation is almost done. We are finished with this, okay. And the last thing that I want to remind you is that you have to work in parts. You don't have to work at all the things at the same time, okay. So I'm pretty sure I told you before, but I'm going to say this again, that you have to work in parts. So for example, first we created oil rig, and then we created this effect of raise, and then we created the barrel, okay. I'm not a fan of multitasking. Even in animation, you shouldn't multitask in animation. You have to take things slowly. You have to take things step by step. And if you are a beginner, I'm pretty sure you have this anxiety that, oh, I need to get things done quickly. I need to get the job. I need to make the money as soon as possible. And I understand your perspective, but you have to remember that you have to go from point A to point B, you have to go from point A first, okay. So this may be your point A, okay, and you are going to make it to point B with God's grace. And so it's completely okay if you are slow at first, but I want you to understand that you need to do things slowly at first, but do it systematically. It's okay if you are slow, but go systematically as much as you can. That's why I'm showing you shortcuts. That's why I'm showing you this folders, because I didn't do it at the first. When I didn't have the systems, I was slow, and since I have the system now, I'm faster. And so I'm asking you to do the same, so that you don't reinvent the wheel. Okay, so now we have almost every animation that was complicated excuse me, every animation that was complicated ready, and now we are going to work on adding the additional elements that convey the message that we are trying to say here. And at the end, we are going to do some end animations, and then we will be done with this, okay. So let's see. Now the message that, like I said, the message that I want to convey through this is I want to combine money, creativity, and a skill, okay. And so I'm now going to type text. So first of all, I'm going to type skill. Now the font that I'm going to use is my favorite, which is Morganite. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Anyways, I'm going to amp up the size, and then I'm going to press Ctrl Alt Home to recenter the anchor point. Then I'm going to press S to bring up the scale, and then I'm going to scale it up to turn the color to be same that of this box. So what I did is I selected this, which is AE underscore box, then I went to fill, and then I'm going to select this code, then I'm going to hit Ctrl C, then OK, then I'm going to select this, go to here, which is character, and then Ctrl V. We have color, and now I'm going to change its position. So just like that, we have our basic animation ready. But the bluish tone, I think it's too bright or too dark. I get to lighten it just a little bit, okay. And now I'm going to write the another part of the text. Now I'm going to lock things up because I don't want to accidentally move things here. So I'm going to select this composition and then lock. I'm going to select this one as well. So I'm going to basically I'm selecting everything here, and then I'm going to lock all of them because I don't need them right now. And so first of all, I clicked here, and then while holding the shift, I clicked here, so everything in between will be selected. Okay, and then I'm going to press the lock button, which basically locks everything, and now I won't be able to accidentally select anything except for the unlocked part. Okay, and so I can walk in peace. You can also hide the layers, by the way, if you want to. If you don't want to see them, let me show that to you. So if you don't want to see the layers, what you can do is you can hide them. So first of all, I'm going to lock them, but if I lock them, I won't be able to hide them. So first of all, I'm going to turn this on, which is hides all the layer. This is basically shy button. Okay, so I'm going to click on this, and then I'm going to click on this, so I won't be able to see that. But the problem that I'm going to face is that I may accidentally turn them on. So I'm going to switch this off. So after I switched it off, I'm able to see this, and then I'm going to lock this and turn this back on, and so I won't be able to select anything accidentally that I don't need. Okay, and so now let's add another text. But first of all, let me align this. I don't know if this is aligned or not. See, aligning is important. You should align every time. I don't know why I keep forgetting that. Now I'm going to add another text. First of all, let me resize something to 50. Select the text. I'm going to select the Montserrat, and I'm going for black to type here. Make money with T. I hope the spellings are all right. And then I'm going to press Ctrl Alt Home, and then my favorite shortcut, and then I'm going to turn the color to white. Now the size, I want the size to be really small. It's okay if it's small. Okay, now I'm going to align this as well. Now I'm going to amp up the size of the scale so that I can amp up the size of this text as well. Now let's see how this looks. I don't know, I don't like this. By the way, one more thing, that if your system is slow, let's say that your system is slowing down because of all the effects that we have used so far. If your system is slow, what you can do is you can work this, for example, let's say quarter. So this basically brings down the quality of the resolution. It doesn't affect the external that we are going to render out, but it affects the visuals that you see, and so your computer doesn't have to work hard for them. Okay, so if your computer is making those noises every time you are doing something because the fans are like working really hard, and so if you think that it's taking a toll on your computer, you can use this as always. I think you should always use this. But since this project isn't really that huge, I don't think I need to do that right now, and that's why I'm not doing that. But if you are someone that is struggling with that part, I think you should work with quarter or third or even half if you want. So that's just a tip. And then I'm going to bring this layer below this, and we are done with adjusting the text. And let me see. So I'm going to solo this. So this button, let me introduce to these buttons as well. Okay, so this is video, which hides, and like this is hiding it. It's obvious, it's self-explanatory. This is sound, and this one is solo. For example, let's say I want to see only these two layers. What you may do is you may end up hiding. Okay, you don't have to do that, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to solo this. Okay, so this is soloed out, and now I can see whether the text is adjusted well or not. Okay, I'm going to resize this a little bit, and I'm going to align this and unsolo this. Okay, I don't know the shortcuts for the solo, by the way. I don't know if there is one. And now we have the basic structure ready. So now we have the first basic structure of our video ready. Okay, and so I'm going to pre-compose this as well. So oil rig underscore main, I'm going to bring this composition to here, which will create a new composition. Okay, and I'm going to call this oil rig underscore render, because we are going to render out this file. Now I'm going to animate and type. First of all, I'm going to type in money, and then I'm going to align this, not to the center, of course. So the audience is first going to see this, then they are going to see this, and then the entire piece appears one by one. Okay, so we may need to animate things in the oil rig underscore main like later, but we may only have to change the timing of things. Okay, so don't worry, it's not going to be that complicated. Now this is the most simplest part of the project, which is the final touch-ups. Okay, so now I'm going to first of all press Ctrl Alt Home. You have to make this a habit. For this I'm going to open up effects and presets, and then I'm going to type in it's called Typewriter Effect. So this is blinking cursor typewriter console. So this allows us to animate text directly, and let me show you how it looks. Okay, so I'm going to drag this. So if you want to apply effect, all you have to do is search for it, and then I'm going to drag this and drop this on money. Okay, and just like that the animation has been done. Okay, let's see. This one is really nice and really looks good, and it really looks as if it's being typewritten. Now we are going to apply the scale animation and position animation on the main composition. Okay, so I'm going to open up position property, and I'm going to drop the keyframe. Then I'm going to open up scale property, and then I'm going to drop a keyframe on that. And then I'm going to press the U so that we have all the keyframes inside. Okay, so I'm going to press shift page down, and then I'm going to drop the keyframes. Okay, and now I'm going to walk on the first frame. So I'm going to bring this up, and let me see where the position of money. Let me see the position of money. And so according to that, I'm going to animate this, and let me scale up money, and I'm going to scale up After Effects and to try to bring them in the center. Okay, I'm going to scale it up even. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to place money at the center and in the beginning. Okay, so this is going to be its final position. So I made the same mistake that I told you not to make just right now. So I'm going to press Alt Shift P. Alt Shift P allows you to drop the keyframe on the position property. Okay, Alt Shift R, like everything is on the screen, and then I'm going to press shift page down, and then I'm going to drop the keyframe here, and then I'm going to go back to the first keyframe, and then I'm going to align it to the center. Okay, and now I'm going to scale this down because this might be too much. I'm going to bring them at the bottom, scale it down into the bottom. Okay, and let's see. Okay, the animation is too fast, and I'm going to parent this to oil rig main, and so we have a movement. But you can see the movement is not working because this has to be faster, this has to be slower. So I'm going to eyeball this, and then the animation starts a bit later. So we have something like this. Still not working. So we have the money reveal first, and you can also see the keyframe of the money reveal as well. Okay, you don't have to just because it's a preset created by people at Adobe, you still have some control over it. Okay, for example, you have the cursor on, you can turn this off, you can turn this on. Okay, then there is this cursor shape. There are many shapes, you can select any one that you want, and then you can also select the blink speed of the cursor. Okay, but I want it to be 10 frames. Since money is parented to oil rig underscore main, I don't think we need the keyframes at the position, at least right now. We may need later, but I'm going to get rid of the position animation by going at the first keyframe. I don't know if you know this, but let's say if you get rid of the keyframes here, your position will be set up here. But if I press Ctrl Z and go to the first keyframe and I get rid of the keyframe here, the final position will be here. Okay, so you have to keep this in mind so that you don't meet up with accidents. And now let's see. Okay, so this makes sense and this one looks much better than what we did. Okay. Okay, now we are going into the main composition because we don't need these rays to be, these beams, I don't know what they are called, but I don't want these beams to be present from the first frame. Okay, I want them to appear, of course, simultaneously, but I want them to appear one by one. Okay, so I'm going to go into the main composition. We are in the main composition, and then I'm going to unlock them, and now I'm going to go into this. First of all, now there are two things that you can do. You can apply the opacity, okay, opacity animation, or you could just animate the offset. Bring this up. So I'm going to just animate the end offset here, okay, and so let's see what we can do here. So I'm going to drop the keyframe. Now the timing is going to be really important. You have to keep this in mind. So first of all, let me animate and then I'm going to show you how we are going to do that. Okay, so I'm going to drop the keyframe on the end offset here, and then I'm going to press U. It brings up the keyframe. Now I'm going to press Shift page down, okay, and then I'm going to zoom in so that I can see, and then I'm going to do this. So I'm going to bring that to 0, and now I'm going to select them and then go to keyframe assistant and time reverse the keyframes. Okay, let's solo this so that we can see it. Okay, so this is how it appears. So let me give this a 15 frame animation. Okay, so I'm going to go 5 frames by pressing Shift page down, not Shift page down, just page down. Okay, so let me restart. Page down, page down, page down, page down, page down. I don't know if it's 15 frames or not, but you can always see that it's 16 frames. We need 15 frames, and so we are at 15 frames here. And then I'm going to ease this so that we have a nice animation. Let's see. Okay, this might be too much. I'm going to ease it again, and I'm going to zoom in, and this is the simplest graph. Okay, this one looks nice. So I'm going to, I don't know if this is going to work or not, but I'm going to copy these keyframes. Okay, now I'm going to solo this as well. Okay, but first of all, I'm going to solo this as well so that we can see. So first, I want this saber. I want the beam to appear first, and then I want this to start. So I'm going to bring that here. So first, this ray appears, and then it starts. Okay. So we have completed this part. Now let's work on this part. Okay. So I made a mistake, not we. It was my mistake. Okay. So I should have foreseen this problem that we might face. So what's going to happen is that changing anything in this composition is going to create the problem in this composition because we have remapped everything. Okay. So first of all, I'm sorry for the pigeons in the background. There are pigeons. There are so many pigeons in the area that I live. I'm going to go into this composition. I'm going to press select this, and then I'm going to press Ctrl C, not Ctrl X. I'm going to press Ctrl C. Then I'm going to hide this and see the magic. Okay, I'm going to share. This is cheap tricks, and this is called real problem solving. Okay, you might have to think outside of the box. It's not sometimes, all the times, because in animation you are going to run into problems. You are going to create problems where they may not exist, or they exist but you don't know the solution, and then you have to walk your way around the solutions. Not every course is going to teach that to you. Okay, you have to remember that you have to be creative when you are doing this. Okay, and so I just copied the base here, and then I'm going to go into the main composition, and then I'm going to press Ctrl V. Okay, and so we have the solution. So did you realize what I did? Well, let me show that to you, but first, okay, let me show that to you. The problem that we may face is that of the mask. Okay, so we have expressions here in the mask path, which is this beam is parented to this base. So basically the mask path is parented to this base. And so let's say once I get rid of this here and I paste this layer in the main composition, we are going to have error. Okay, and this error may not be easy to overcome. Okay, and so this may have caused issues. So this is what I was talking about. This is creative problem solving. You have to think outside of the box. Now, this was completely unplanned on my part as well. I did not see this coming, and it's good that it came up so that you know that every creator runs into this problem, and this is what we do. This is real problem solving. This is what you do. This is what you get paid for. Okay, you have to think outside of the box. So what I did is that I hide this layer, and so in that way I don't have to get rid of the expressions, and then I pasted that here. Okay, and so it's like you are killing two stones, not two stones, you are killing two birds with one stone. Okay, and so I'm now going to copy this, and then I'm going to go to the first frame, and then I'm going to paste this, and then I'm going to press U. Now I'm going to bring this layer, saber AE_PC, just like that, so everything is synced up. And let's see both of them. Okay, yeah, it worked. Thankfully it worked. Let me change their color to the same thing so that at least I know. Okay, now we are going to follow the same process here. So I'm going to turn this on, and then I'm going to go into this composition. I'm going to copy this, then I'm going to hide this, then I'm going to go back into the main composition, and then I'm going to paste this. Okay, I'm going to make them both the same color, so it's brown here. Okay, and now I'm going to expand this layer first of all, because the layer was trimmed because of that composition, and the same thing is happening here as well. No, it's not. Okay, and so I'm going to select this. First of all, I'm going to select this and offset, copy, go to here, go to first frame, and Control V. Okay, and now I'm going to do the same thing with this layer. Let's see. And it's done. Great. Now I'm going to go into the render composition, and let's see what is happening here. So now the next thing that I want to make is I want to adjust the timing of this. Now we are not going to adjust the timing in this composition. We are going to make things work in this composition. Okay, so we have probably a 15 or 20 frame animation on this money. Okay, and so I'm going to go back up to 5 frames. Okay, I'm going to go to 15 frames. You can go to 15 frames from here as well. I'm going to type in 15, and we are at 15 frames. Okay, I'm going to drop a marker. Okay, 15 frames. So this is a marker. Okay, so a marker is dropped using an asterisk. I don't know what it's called. It's asterisk, I don't know. Okay, and this marker is basically used to mark timeline. You can also mark layers with this, and it's really handy. You can also use it to bind keyframes, but you don't have to go there right now. You can also give color to it if you want to remember things. You can also add comments here, for example, in. Okay, and so it really helps you to navigate stuff here. And if you want to get rid of it, all you have to do is press Control, and then you will be able to get rid of that. Okay, and I normally use this marker to mark out the timeline. Okay, and so I want this animation that is starting at the beginning, I want that animation to start at 15 frames. Okay, I'm going to duplicate this, and then I'm going to bring that here. Now I'm going to go to the first frame. Okay, I don't know why that opened up, but I'm going to go to first frame, and then I'm going to right click on this, and then I'm going to go to time and then freeze frame. Okay, so what I did is I just freezed frame until this animation appears. Okay, and we are going to change that, don't worry about that for now. Now I'm going to parent this to this, and I'm also going to rename this. Okay, so we basically freezed it, and you know what, this animation is taking too long. Let's see, it's not taking too long, it's even perfect than I expected it to be. And now I'm going to trim this by pressing this shortcut. Okay, so this shortcut is basically trimming, and this shortcut, okay, you get the point, right? So this is how you trim, and see the frame is remaining, and then I'm going to get rid of that as well. Okay, so let's see. Now I'm going to bring the keyframes even closer. Okay, let's see. Great, this looks nice, but I could also increase, because this composition looks smaller. I want it to be bigger, so I'm just going to increase the scale. Now, there is no any reason for it, I just want it to look bigger, and so I'm going to scale it up till here. Also, you have to remember that when you are working for TikTok or Instagram, there are going to be spaces where your content may not be visible. So make sure that you keep this safe space in mind, that everything important needs to be in this area. Okay, it's okay if you are crossing the upper part, but especially if you are writing something important or showing something important, there are going to be this comment things, and then there may be username or something else, so it may block things. Okay, so always keep that in mind, that you need to keep the most important things in this box. You have to keep that in mind. Now I'm going to easy ease this. By easy easing it, you have to use the shortcuts. I can't use it because there is a software running that stops on the shortcut, that is F9. Okay, now let's see. Okay, good, but we can make it better. Now what do you think is missing here? So the first thing that I think is missing is the graph. I don't like the animation, so I'm going to zoom in, and I'm going to select one property at a time. So we are going to work with the position property. Let's see. So it's going to be fast at first, and then it's going to slow down. See? Nice, this looks nice. Okay, I'm going to select this, and then I'm going to copy this, and then I'm going to select this, and then I'm going to paste it. Let's see. That looks stunning. So this looks good, but we have to make it even better. So another thing that I'm going to do is, I also want this upper text to have animation. I want it to make like something like parallax animation. Okay, so if you don't know what parallax is, let me show that to you. So the parallax effect is what happens when different elements of our animation move at different speed. Now this movement may end up creating 3D depth effect. It's not 3D, it's 2D, but it gives us the effect of 3D. Okay, and so that's parallax for you. Okay, so now I'm going to go to the first keyframe, and this is the thing that you may not know. Okay, so let's say that you want to make change at this frame in this composition. Okay, in this composition. So when you are at this frame and you want to make the change, what you have to do is go to that frame, and then when you click or when you open this composition, you are going to be in the same frame as that of this time. Okay, current time indicator. Okay, so I'm going to open this up, And now I want to animate both of this. Okay, so I'm going to parent this to scale, and then I'm going to open up position, and then I'm going to go 20 frames ahead, shift page down, and then I'm going to click on this keyframe, and then I'm going to pull this up like this, and then I'm going to paste this, and then let's see how it looks. So I'm going to press 0. Okay, so the animation is too quick. We want it to be slower, so we are going to make the change to the graph editor. So what if we do the opposite? Let me bring, I'm going to right click, keyframe assisted, easy ease, to get that normal easy ease back. So I'm going to make this slow at first and then speedy at the back. So I'm going to copy this, and then I'm going to double click on this and then ease. Let's see. Okay, this one looks much better, and I'm going to animate this as well. Okay, this one really looks nice. It's quick, because see, on social media you have to remember that people are not going to wait. You have to remember that people have so many options that they can scroll easily. So you need to do things quickly, but you also need to do systematically. I'm not asking you to make bad products for the people, okay? You have to keep that in mind, that people on social media have lower attention span, so you may have to do some things that may not look right at first, but it's okay if you want to grab attention, okay? So the money here is being written out really quickly, and which is a good thing, I guess. Now, since the animation or the graph has changed, the animation on that skill is not visible. It's because of that. So to give the parallax effect, what I'm going to do is I'm going to first of all ease this as well. And now I'm going to change the keyframe position. I'm just doing this randomly. I don't know. Okay. And so I'm going to go back and let's see. Okay. Now you might have to do things randomly at first, but it's completely okay. This might be too fast. Let me give the ease here. Let me see what's happening. So I'm going to press Shift F3. We have it slow and then really quick. So let's do the opposite. Let's change the graph based on our need. And let's go back to the main composition and see what's happening. Okay, yeah, I don't like this. So I'm going to bring this just let's see. Now it should work. Okay, this one looks really nice. So the reason why I was repeating the same mistake is because I wasn't paying attention to the keyframe, okay, and the time of that keyframe. Nice. This one looks really nice, but there is still an issue with the timing. I'm going to bring this just a little bit, like 5 to 4 frames, and see. Okay, now we are done with this. So I'm going to bring the first keyframe just a little bit out like this, so we have really slow animation. See, let's see. Okay, nice. I'm going to bring this back. See, in animation, timing is really important. There are the two most important things about animation. One of them is spacing, the other one is timing. We got the spacing right in the first half. Now we are getting the timing right. You have to work on this with intent, okay? You cannot go into animation blindly. And you should plan this before, but it's okay if you are not able to plan timing at the first. Especially if you are a beginner, you are not going to have that sense of timing at first, but as you move forward, you are going to have that sense of timing, okay? So you have to remember that it's okay if you don't know everything, but the main thing is that you have to start making stuff really quickly. Okay, this looks nice. I don't know why, but I'm still not satisfied with the timing of that. So let me see what I can do here. Okay, so you know what, I'm going to change this, even push this even out, and let's see. Okay, so let me eyeball this. Okay, so here the animation should start. Okay, and so we got it right this time. Now we are going to make some changes in the skill. Okay, so I'm going to solo this out, and then I'm going to apply the mask, and then I'm going to feather this. Okay, so what this basically gives us is that it gives us this feeling of depth, that it is behind this object and it is not in the front, and it's not too glowy. Okay, but I want people to be able to read skill as well, so you have to keep that in mind as well. Okay, so the question that you have to ask yourself is that, am I able to read skill? And it's okay if you don't at first. You can write in caption as well, but don't compromise your message for your art. Okay, it's okay if you have to change certain things. Okay, so we are done with the final animation. Now there is only one thing left, and that is creating this final look and feel for this. Okay, since this is a visual communication medium, we have to make things look better, and we are going to do that in the next lecture. Okay, so we are in the final section of creating this video, and in this section we are going to work on look and feel. I'm going to first of all unlock the barrels, and then I'm going to bring the barrels just beside the oil rig. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pre-compose all of them. Okay, I'm going to pre-compose this. To pre-compose everything, just select the layers that you want to select. So I'm selecting the layers by pressing Shift. Okay, and then I'm just going to click here. So Control Shift C opens up the pre-compose window, and then I'm going to rename this and then move all attributes into the new composition. Okay, and so we have it here. Now let's see how this looks when we move them up. Okay, I know, you know what, I like this one, but this one is also decent. The best thing that you can do to improve the look and feel of everything is basically adding shadow. So let's try to add shadow and see what happens. So I'm going to press Control Space, type drop shadow, and then let's see. So this is drop shadow. Okay, and so these are all the parameters. The shadow color allows you to choose the shadow. The opacity allows you to choose the opacity. The direction is important, which allows us to choose the direction of the shadow. Then there is softness and distance, and the shadow only button allows you to have the shadow only. Okay, and so let's see if this works out for us or not. So first of all, I'm going to change the direction to something like this. The reason why I'm going to change this direction is because I'm going to assume that this is going to be our main source for light, and that's why I'm going to change the direction like this, and then I'm going to change the distance to something like this. And the good thing here that we don't need any further work is that the background is black. Okay, and since the background is black, the shadow won't have any impact. But if the background was something else, we may have to worry a little bit, and we may have to go a bit advanced. And then I'm going to increase the softness. So softness basically allows you to soften the shadow, and this really looks nice. So let me try to increase the softness. So the another thing that needs to have certain look and feel is this part. Okay, so this part is going to have certain amount of color to it, right? So that it at least looks authentic, that we are digging for something, right? So I'm going to go into oil rig, and you know what, you don't even need to go into the oil rig. So I'm going to just create a shape layer. like this. Now I'm going to select this to oil rig PC, and then I'm going to turn this on. Then I'm going to duplicate this, okay, and I'm going to bring this below, and then I'm going to turn this on. Okay, now let me show you the magic of what just happened. I know what you're thinking, but let's move this below. Now I'm going to add an effect called fast box blur, and then I'm going to get rid of the repeat edge pixel, and then I'm going to increase the blur, and then I'm going to change the blending mode to multiply and change the opacity just a little bit. Let's see. So I'm just going to use the mask. I'm going to mask this, and then I'm going to feather it. Okay, so I'm going to create a rectangle here, and then I'm going to bring this below the oil rig. Okay, and now I'm going to duplicate this, and then I'm going to apply the matte. Okay, and then I'm going to rename this to matte. Now I'm going to apply ramp effect. I know there is a faster way, but I think this is the fastest way to do that. So I'm going to just apply that, and I just brought the colors in a way that I wanted, and then I'm going to swap colors. Now I'm going to blend this. Let's see what happens. Okay, I'm going to bring this below. You know what, this is working. This looks nice, but we also run into another problem, and that is the problem with the shadow. So what we do, we get rid of the shadow from this layer, and it's gone. So basically what was happening, so you might be thinking what was happening. So we have created the matte. Okay, now this matte is basically being projected on this barrel. Now this barrel also has the effect of the drop shadow, and so the drop shadows effect is being visible through this matte. And so when we get rid of the matte, when we get rid of the drop shadow from this layer, the problem with that also disappears. Okay, so I hope this makes sense to you. It's really simple, but if you have questions, feel free to ask. Okay, so we have our basic. Now let me also rename this, so that at least I know that it's for matte. And let's see the difference. Okay, this, and the good thing about this is that we can keep making changes, because see, the light is here, so we need to have, I don't know that. See, let me undo that. Okay, subtle but beautiful. See, it's really subtle, but it doing its job fine. Okay, great. So now we are done with the look and feel of this. Okay, and now I'm going to create an adjustment layer. You can create a new adjustment layer by just right clicking, then going to new adjustment layer, but I'm going to create it using a shortcut, which is Control Alt Y. Okay, Command Option Y for the Mac, and then I'm going to bring it below the money layer, and then I'm going to rename this. I'm going to rename this to CC. I don't know, CC, color correction. I don't know if we are really color correcting, but I'm just trying things here. Okay, so I'm going to apply an effect called hue and saturation effect. I'm going to desaturate this just a little bit, but see, it doesn't look good. If I bring it up, it looks too colorful. So I'm going to keep it at 10. Let's see the difference. Okay, you can see the difference. See, the edges here looks much better. Now I'm going to add an effect called curves. Okay, so the so the curve effect in After Effects allows us to adjust the brightness, contrast, and color balance of the composition by and we do that by manipulating the graph that is represented by the difference. So this graph that you see represents the different brightness value. Okay, it's really powerful tool for color grading and enhancing visuals in our projects. Okay, and so let me show you the difference. See, you can see the difference. This might be a bit too much. Also, what would happen if we bring the barrel up? So let's go into the barrel and let's increase. I'm going to add an effect called hue and saturation. and then I'm going to decrease the saturation just a little bit so that I can see the dollar even properly. Okay, also what if, now since the color here is we have used is blue, so what if we use the color blue here? Okay, that might make things even better. So first of all, let me go back into the main composition so that I can see the blue color. Then I'm going to copy this, and then I'm going to go into the barrel again, and then I'm going to find character, and then I'm going to paste this, and let me see if the blue color works. Okay, the blue color works, but I don't know, it gives this cold vibe. Can you see that? So the blue color looks really nice with this, but for some reason this color is giving this dark energy, and I don't like that. So I'm going to undo that, and then let's see. Okay, so this one looks nice, and then I'm going to change the position of this to see how this looks. Okay, you know what? This looks nice, but I may have to work on the matte. And I'm going to change the color of the base so that it matches the tone, the entire tone of it. So I'm going to just pick this color, and then I'm going to see how it looks. It looks good, but the color is too dark. Let's make it just a little bit brighter. Okay, this one looks really nice. Now I'm going to go into the main composition, and I'm going to change the shadow, just the distance of the shadow. I want it to look bigger. Okay, let's see. Okay, the shadow looks nice. Now let's see the difference without all the color correction, and let's see. Okay, you can see it looks nice, although you might say that this is too much, and it is too much. It should be too much, but see all the edges. Okay, let's see in the detail. You can see the difference, right? Okay, this is before and this is after. This is before and this is after. Okay, so I'm going to add an effect called sharpen. Okay, I'm going to amp it up just a little bit, and let's see the difference. Okay, so the sharpen effect basically makes the edges and the details even more defined, okay, so that we can see it clearly. Now this effect is really helpful, and it makes things visually appealing. Okay, it's subtle, but it's nice. Okay, so let me show you the difference. See the edges, look, pay attention to this part. Okay, see. Okay, and I don't know why, but this entire piece has some dark aura to it. I don't know why, and it's because of this part. Also, what if we change the color of scale to the yellow, and just like that, the entire vibe of the piece has been shifted from being dark to really nice, and you can definitely see that here. Okay, now the problem that we might face is with the coins. Okay, let's see, because the coins have the same color, and so we might not be able to see the coin. Okay, so what can we do in this situation? So I'm going to find the barrel, and then I'm going to change the color of the coin to blue, I guess. Okay, now I'm going to select the stroke, and then I'm going to select this, and then I'm just going to make this a little bit lighter, not too much, and let's see. Okay, the contrast is appealing. This looks much better than I expected it to look, and let's see. Okay, so the word skill is visible, and it's readable as well, and the yellow color is really giving a beautiful vibe to it. The yellow color is attached to joy, happiness, and money should be attached with joy and happiness, and the blue color is often aligned with that of trust. You see, all the banks have the blue color. Okay, and so I think choosing yellow over blue was much wiser move, and it really looks nice. Okay, so let's take a look at this one once again, and see if we can find any issues that needs to be solved. Okay, so the one issue that I'm finding right now is the presence of, or this whatever this is called, shouldn't be this much darker. Okay, it has to be bright. So let's see if what happens if I bring that here. Okay, nice. But the problem is with the barrel, so I'm going to duplicate this, and then I'm going to bring that here, and then I'm going to mask it. Okay, now the problem that I'm going to face here is the shadow here becomes the double trouble. So I'm going to get rid of the shadow from this layer, and the problem is now solved. So the reason why I did that is because I want the dollar sign to appear. Okay, feathering won't do anything, so I'm going to undo that, and then I'm going to go into the main composition, and yes, it works. So this is the end of this.
Now, as promised at the beginning of the class, here is your bonus. First of all, thank you and congratulations for finishing the class, because most people don't. You get these reels that you see on the screen that you can use for self-study. Use this project file to see how we created it. And if you upload it, just make sure that you give us credit. You are free to upload it whenever you want. Just make sure that you give us the proper credit.